Daf Nun Vav, the second Maimer of Parashas Vaeirah. So the beginning of the parasha has Hashem responding to Moshe. Moshe said at the end of Shemos, Lama hariyos lamazeh. Why did you do bad to this nation by making their slavery worse? And then Hashem answers that Hashem says to him, Hashem speaks to Moshe, and says to him, Hashem, I am Hashem. Notice that the pasuk calls Hashem Elokim, and then Elokim says, I am Hashem, Hashem Havayeh. And then it continues, Vaeirah el Avrham, that I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with the name Kel Shakai, but my name, Havayeh, wasn't, I didn't show it to them. And we need to understand what is the spiritual meaning of Moshe's claim, Lama Hares, why did you make it difficult? And what is Hashem's response? He responds by something seemingly not related. He says, I appeared to the forefathers using a certain name, Kel Shakai, but they didn't get to see my inner self, Shem Havayeh. And what does that have to do with it? So the simple meaning is that Rashi says that despite them not seeing my promises fulfilled, they still trusted me. Whereas you're not trusting me. And the Maimon now will explain what it means al pi Chassidus. Also, we need to understand the general idea that why were the Jewish people enslaved and had to work with the mortar and bricks so hard? What was the purpose of all this difficulty? So now let's first look at the two names of Hashem, Shem Havayeh, which is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, and Shem Elokim, the name of Hashem Elokim. Now, throughout the beginning of creation, it only uses the name Elokim, but at the end of creation, in Parshas Bereishis, the end of creation, it says that on the day, B'yoyim asayis Hashem Elokim, on the day that Havayeh Elokim made Eretz Shamayim, earth and heaven, and there it uses both names. And so we need to understand what are these two names. So Elokim is the name which allows for multiplicity. That's why Elokim itself has the Yud Mem. And it's sometimes used in plural. For example, Elokim Kadeshim, what the pasuk says. Hashem is holy, but it says Kadeshim in plural. Whereas Shem Havayeh is one. Like we know that Havayeh Echad in Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem is one. So that name is connected with oneness. Now, there's a pasuk we say in Ashrei that God, Hashem is great and very praiseworthy, and there's no limit to his greatness. Now, there's a pasuk in Tehillim in Memches, which we say in Shir Shayim for Monday, that also begins with God, Hashem, and then it continues, Be'ir Elokeinu, that Hashem is great, Be'ir Elokeinu, in the city of our God. And Zohar explains that when is Hashem great? When he is Be'ir Elokeinu, in the city of Elokeinu. So in other words, the greatness of Hashem is discernible in Shem Elokim, Ir Elokeinu, and with and the city of Elokim, of our God. Why? Because Hashem is really unlimited, and and we can't grasp him. It's totally beyond. And if we can't even call him great, because he's totally beyond us, and that is true about Shem Havayeh, which is the name representing the beyond, the unlimitedness. But only when the name Hashem is limited in the sense, not Hashem. Of course, Hashem is never limited, Chas v'shalom, but the light of Hashem that creations can take in, that we receive, that is limited. And so that's where we can say that Hashem is great. So this is like the idea of a sun and then the ray from the sun. That the sun itself is like Shem Havayeh, and then the ray of the sun is like Shem Elokim, which is a limited ray given over in order to benefit, in order to give light to the creations. Like the pasuk says, Ki Shemesh Shemagen Havayeh Elokim, which in Hasidus we translate Shemesh in this context, although the simple meaning in that pasuk is that Hashem is like a wall and a shield. But in Hasidus, we translate Shemesh here like the regular meaning, that Shemesh means the sun, that Hashem is like the sun, and then the shield around the sun, blocking the light of the sun. So Shemesh, the sun itself, is Shem Havayeh. Elokim is the shield, which blocks the intensity of the sun. So when the light separates from the sun and spreads all over Earth, so it's only a ray of the sun, and it's got no value compared to the sun itself, even though the rays come out of the sun. So similarly, the life force that comes from Hashem in order to enliven worlds is only a ray, and it's like nothing compared to Hashem himself. Now, we have two psukim. We have Ma Rabu Masech Hashem and Ma Godlu Masech Hashem. How many are your works, Hashem, and how great are your works, Hashem? So more specifically, we could say that the lower worlds, we would use the word Ma Rabu, how many, because in the lower worlds there's so much multiplicity, because there's so much division, and each thing is like a separate entity in separate existence. Whereas in higher worlds, we use the term Ma Godlu, how great are your works, Hashem, because it's not about quantity, it's spiritual quality. So in our world, there's so many different types within each level. There's inanimate vegetation, animals, and people, and each one has so many different types. There's all different tastes. There's apples and nuts and almonds and all different things. And each one has its own taste, different from the others. Similarly with grass and with herbs, there's so many different types. And each one is different with different characteristics and different taste, if you will. And this comes from a spiritual source, but because every blade of grass has its own spiritual source. And it comes from what is sort of the leftovers, what is sent down from the spiritual worlds, just like an intestine, that when we eat, the body separates the good, and the good it keeps to energize us, and then the bad is sent out of the body. So there's also a spiritual intestine that sends down the bad, or the more sort of separate from Hashem, apparently, into lower worlds. And so therefore, what we have in this world, all the multiplicity, all the different beings in this world, is what was sent out and sent down from the high spiritual worlds. So the Chazal say, it's also quoted in Basi Lagani, that not as Moile Uvara Aretz, that Hashem tilted his left hand and created earth, and not Yamina Uvara Shemaim, he tilted his right arm and created heaven. So the heavens created with the right, which means that there's more revelation. It's the side of Chesed, more Elokus. And the left is where this word comes from, meaning there's more tzimtzum and concealment. So, and that comes from the left. And therefore, that in our world, we say, Ma Rabu, how many are your works? Where in the spiritual worlds, we say, Ma Godlu. So there you have great malachim, angels, and Neshamos, souls, and they have pleasure from Hashem, and each one has its own type of pleasure. And that's similar to tzaddikim, that in Olam Haba, they're basking in Hashem's light and having pleasure from understanding of Hashem. So each tzaddik will have its own type of pleasure and its own type of understanding. And that explains a strange Mishnah that says, then the Mishnah is that that Hashem will give as an inheritance to each tzaddik Shai Olmas, 310 worlds. And as the pasuk says, Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Lahancho Over Yesh, to inherit his Hashem's lovers. Yesh is Yud is 10 and Shin is 300, so 310 worlds. So the Alter Rebbe asks, what are they looking for? Spiritual real estate? What's the point of these worlds? So the idea is that every mitzvah elicits a certain light from Hashem, and that light itself is the reward, because that gives when it does the mitzvah, one is able to appreciate that light. In Olam Haba, he receives this and takes in this pleasure of Hashem's light, and therefore every tzaddik does mitzvahs in a different style, and every tzaddik also appreciates that light in a different style, depending on the exact type of neshama of the tzaddik. And therefore, this creates a different av of a year, a different love and reverence of Hashem for each tzaddik differently, because everyone gets excited from different thought processes. And therefore, when in Olam Haba, every tzaddik will have his own style of taking in Hashem's light and his own style of understanding, and therefore we have 310 worlds for each tzaddik, and this is like in high worlds we have my God L'masech Hashem, how great is your work, Hashem. Now, really, the rays of Shekhinah could have tens of thousands of different types, and it could go on and on, because it comes from Or Ein Sof, Hashem's unlimited light, so therefore it has unlimited amounts of manifestations. And this is all within the name Elokim, which is the name related to plural and multiplicity, and therefore you have many different styles. And that's what we mean when we say, when is Hashem great? And also, this based on Zohar. The Zohar says, when is Hashem great? When he is in the city of Elokeinu. So this Elokeinu is the name of multiplicity. And Ir, the city, based on Sefer Yetzirah, which says that a letter is like, every letter is a stone, and every word is like a house, and then from the houses, from the words, you make the city. So the city of our God, city is connected to letters and words, and there's so many different combinations of letters to make different words. So similarly with Hashem's light and Hashem's greatness, it can come down in so many different ways, and that's all Elokim. Over the page, the second side of Nun Vav. On the other hand, Shem Havayeh is called one, because Shem Havayeh is like Hashem before it came down in a revealed way in Elokeinu. So it's Hashem for himself before it comes down to enliven all the multiplicity of creations. Next paragraph, so from the name Elokim, that's which gets involved with us in a particular way, in a mamale way. So that's where we're able to develop passion and feelings towards Hashem. So we're able to develop, for example, yira, reverence, like the pasuk says, Es Elokim Yoreh, that he fears Hashem, fear Hashem. Or the same thing with other psukim where it mentions Elokecha when it wants to talk about fear. For example, it's Hashem Elokecha Tira, that you should fear Hashem your God. So you're only able to develop reverence when there's Elokecha there, because Havayeh is beyond our understanding, and therefore we're not able to develop a feeling and a passionate love or reverence for Shem Havayeh, because it's beyond us. It has to start with Elokim, and then we're able to develop a reverence and the same, or similarly a love, like it says also, we say in Shema, V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. Again, we have your God, because we have to reflect on ideas about Hashem that we can understand in order to develop a love. So thinking about how Hashem's greatness within creations, and then he can come to the love of Hashem, and then he can love Hashem even beyond. But it has to start with Elokecha, and then ultimately he can reach also love for Hashem as he is beyond being a creator and beyond involvement in worlds. So this is the idea of Yichud Havayeh B'Elokim, that unification of Hashem Havayeh, Hashem's high name, beyond creation and beyond any other, into Elokim, the name which gets involved and gives vitality to creations. And that's why in Parshas Vaeirah at the beginning, it starts off, Vayita Elokim el Moshe, that Elokim spoke to Moshe, Vayomer lo, and he said, Ani Havayeh. What do you mean? It should say Ani Elokim. Why does it say Ani Havayeh? Because through Elokim, through appreciating and reflecting on Hashem as he is within creation and involved with us, so then we can come to an appreciation through that and a love of Hashem Havayeh as well, Hashem as he's beyond being a creator. And then the next pasuk continues, Vaeirah, that I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Avraham is the sort of archetype of love of Hashem. Yitzchak is the archetype of Gevura and reverence of Hashem, Yira. And Hashem reveals himself to create an ava and yira, love and reverence of Hashem, and so this is through the name Elokim. And similarly, at the end of creation, after the whole creation is made with the involvement of Elokim at the end of creation, and it says, like we quoted the pasuk before, that B'yoma says Havayeh Elokim, on the day that Havayeh Elokim made earth and heaven. So again, we have a unification of Havayeh into Elokim, and that through Elokim, Shem Havayeh, Hashem's name beyond creation, should be able to be revealed down here. Now, the love that we can achieve ourselves, the love of Hashem we can achieve, is in the goal of it is that afterwards we should be gifted with the love of Hashem as it is beyond what we can achieve. Now the Avos, our forefathers are called a Merkava. They're called a chariot, that because they were that they were nullified before Hashem, and like a chariot lets the rider sits on the chariot and directs the chariot. Like it says about Avraham, that Avraham was traveling towards the south. So the south represents the right side. When you're facing east, then the south is to the right. So south represents Ava, love of Hashem. And what he wanted is to reach the Negba, reach the furthest south, which is further south represents not the love that he can achieve himself, but that through him trying to reach the ultimate love that he can reach, then he'll be gifted with Ava, with a deeper love from Hashem. So in other words, from the rider, which is above the chariot. So Avram's like a chariot, and he wanted the rider, and it was Hashem, to be manifest on him, to give him this Ava. So through our efforts, and then it bounces back with Hashem gifting us as well, and Esther is a Layla and arousal from above. But there's a problem here. So we try to develop an avatar Hashem, a love of Hashem, which of course is limited. We as humans, we've got limited capacity. And what we want as a response is this unlimited ava from Hashem. So what causes Hashem's unlimited arousal of love to rest on our limited human arousal of love? So this is the name Kel Shakai. Shakai, it comes from the word dai, that like the Gemara says, that he tells the world enough. It gives limits to the world, and this is like the world has to be created within limits and within capacity. It talks about the world as being built, like it says, Olam Chesed Yibana, the world is built with kindness, or B'chachma Yivne Bayis, we could build a house with wisdom. So what we need is to have chesed and to have chachma, but in a limited way. So there needs to be a lot of tzimtzumim, a lot of contractions in order to allow for a world to exist and to build a house. Which the idea of a house also is limited and defined, like we said before, that every letter is a stone and words are houses. And this is why the tzaddik, who reaches a high level of love of Hashem, so he's rewarded with Shai Elamus, 310 worlds. What's the special about 310? 310 is the numerical value of Yesh, and that's what that pasuk actually says. Lahanchil over Yesh. Yesh means an existence as a separate entity. Yes, there is something, whereas ayin is like nothing, something totally nullified before Hashem and one with Hashem. So the tzaddik develops his ava when he's a separate being, and only as a separate being. So then he is able to receive Hashem's delight and enjoy Hashem's shechina. And that's the idea of the name Shaddai, which is die, about telling the world enough, giving the world limits, and through that, within limits, then there can be a revelation of Hashem's light, which is the meaning of the pasuk Vaeirah el Avrham, that I revealed myself to Avraham, meaning a revelation which brings the Neshamos to Ava, to love of Hashem. And then we continue in Shema, and we say, "V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha." The usual word for to love would be leib, whereas here it says lava, and the reason is because leib means to love. Lava means to generate love. What we're trying to do is through our love of Hashem to generate, to bring down a love from beyond, which Hashem gifts us with. And that this love should come upon our whole being, and that we should love Hashem with all our heart, meaning with both our Elokus and our Neshamos, both our godly soul and our animal soul. The animal soul and the Yetzer Hara should also love Hashem when it's just smothered with this love of Hashem that Hashem gives us with from beyond. And this is brought down to us in Shema through our efforts before Shema, in Pesukei de Zimra, and in the blessings before Shema. So then we're gifted with this love at the time of Shema. Next paragraph, Achine. But this is all with the midas that we work on through our understanding of Hashem, which is all within the name Elokim. But then the pasuk continues that Hashem revealed himself to the Avos only with Kel Shaddai, with the name Shaddai and the name Elokim, which is all to do with limits. Whereas, and through those limits, then we're able to get this gift of love from beyond as well. But the name Havayeh, which is beyond, lo nodaati, that we weren't shown. Meaning it doesn't come down in a revealed way within us, in Hashem Havayeh, Hashem as he is totally beyond. But when we do mitzvahs, so then we're sanctified with his mitzvahs, with Hashem's mitzvahs, that Hashem, they're called Hashem's mitzvahs because Hashem also does the mitzvahs. Hashem puts on tefillin, so to speak, and learns Torah. And so when a person learns Torah, so then it's beyond, like it says that based on the pasuk in Koheles, that what can we do of real value under the sun? So the Gemara says that what's under the sun may be lacking in real value. What's beyond the sun, the work of Torah, that is beyond, and that has real value. So that is connecting to Hashem as he is beyond creation, Shem Havayeh. But this was not given to the Avos. The Avos didn't have Torah and Mitzvot, so therefore they could only reach what they could reach themselves. And even if that elicited a gift from Hashem, it was still only according to what it was beyond, but still not only commensurate to them, but not the ultimate, not Shem Havayeh. Whereas Shem Havayeh, Hashem as he is for himself, not limited in order to come down into creation. So that is what we can tap into and connect to Hashem at that level only through Torah and Mitzvahs. Next paragraph. The paragraph begins, Achine. But in order to get revelation of Matan Torah, of the giving of the Torah, where we have these opportunities to connect to Hashem himself, there has to first be a period of concealment. Like in order to get to Shuv, where Hashem comes down into our realm, there has to first be a Rotzu where we're yearning and trying to jump up and beyond. Or like similarly with Hashem's light, that the Zohar talks about mati v'lo mati, that it reaches and touches and then doesn't reach and touch. So it's all Hashem's light. It has to have both sort of aspects. Being in a state of hamshacha, that it's coming down and then sort of back and forth. So we need to have first a time of galus, of exile, and a time where Mitzrayim is in control. because Hashem's light is concealed at that moment. We say in Tehillim Kuf Yud Gimel, the beginning of Hallel, that Ram al Kol Goyim Hashem, that Hashem is above and beyond all nations. Al Shamayim Kvoda, his glory is manifest only in the heavens. And when Hashem is in the state of Ram, of being above and beyond, so it's not getting involved in the details, so then everything and everyone gets energized equally. Whereas when Hashem is involved in a way of Mamale, like the chapter of Tehillim and Hallel continues, Hamashbili Lira is when he descends to see and he looks at everything carefully and what this creation needs and what that creation needs and what it can take in. So then Hashem gives a different light manifestation of Hashem too, in particular to the Yidden. Like the pasuk there continues, Mik Hashem Leikeinu, that who is like Hashem, our God, that Hashem rests his Shechina only on Bnei Yisrael. Whereas when Hashem is Ram, Hashem is beyond, so then Hashem's light shines to everyone equally. So to bring down Hashem's unlimited light, it's through our mitzvahs. On the other hand, when we talk about Ram, so then Hashem being beyond, so then everyone can receive chayes, can receive energy. And like we said with Olam Atayot, that the kings of Esav were before Yachid, before the Jewish people had kings, and they represent these lights of Toil, very powerful lights, without really deserving. It just goes everywhere, like Makif. And this is why it says that Har Sinai, the Torah was given on Sinai. Sinai is from the word sinah, hatred. Why? Because once we have Torah and Mitzvahs, that means that we are received Hashem's giving according to what we deserve based on the particulars of each creation, and then Bnei Yisrael who have Torah and Mitzvahs are able to be the main focus, have more of Hashem's light, and therefore it creates hatred in the world. Because now there's division, whereas before Matan Torah there's no hatred because everyone receives Hashem's light. So therefore, when Moshe said, why are things so bad? So Hashem says, because you're about to receive the Torah. The Avos, our forefathers, they were still in a state of makif. They weren't able to bring down Shem Havayeh that it should be received in a internal way in the world, and therefore Hashem's light was available for everyone. Whereas now you're about to have Matan Torah, and therefore there's difficulty before. This is the concealment before the revelation, the rotzu, where we're jumping out of with yearning out of the world before the shuv. So therefore there was these 210 years in Egypt in order to prepare for the giving of the Torah. And similarly, the longest galus, the longest exile is the galus Edom, the exile of Edom, which is since the second base of Mikdash was destroyed until today. And the reason it's so long is because very soon we're going to have the shuv after this long rotzi, this long jumping out and beyond because of all the concealment and the problems in the world. So we're going to have the greatest shuv, the greatest bringing down of Hashem's light into the world with Mashiach. And then we'll see Hashem eye to eye, not like at Matan Torah where it says that they heard what was normally seen, but which is a certain degree of revelation. But with Mashiach, will be much more powerful, ayin b'ayin. That we'll see Hashem eye to eye, and therefore there's a longer galus before. Now, we said that the Ava, the love of like the Avos, that they try to bring out to the greatest love they can achieve, and then Hashem gifts them with the greater love that turns over even the Nefesh Bahamas, that the animal soul should also love Hashem. So that was hinted in the words to love Hashem b'chol levavcha, with all your heart, with both parts of the heart, the Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. Whereas the next ava, the next love, is the love not of going up to Hashem, but a love of bringing Hashem down into onto us. That our whole being should just be a vessel for Hashem, like we've discussed. That with in this moment, more in previous moment, that Hashem, when we learn Torah, so Hashem can just speak through us. When we do a mitzvah, then Hashem is manifest in that. So that's the love of b'chol nafshecha, with all our soul. That our head is a container for, so to speak, Hashem's head, and our heart for Hashem's heart. That Hashem's word is in our mouth, like the Gemara says, Shechina medaberes mitach greina shel Moshe, that the Shechina speaks through Moshe's throat, or like the Beis Yosef, when he had the Malach teach him Torah, it says, that I am the Mishnah speaking through your mouth, that we are this vessel that just lets Hashem shine through. And so this is a level of Shuv and the Ava of B'chol Nafshecha. So in short, the Moshe asked, why is it so hard? In other words, why do we need a galus? And the answer is because you're not staying at the level of the Avos. The Avos, they had revelation only at the level of Kel Shakai, which is a limit in order to have a revelation that they're able to take in. Whereas you are going to reach Havayeh Hashem as he is beyond and unlimited. And how do we do that? Through Torah and Mitzvot. And therefore, right before Matan Torah, we have this difficult galus, but we're going to reach Hashem Havayeh, and that Hashem should be manifest on us, not us trying to lift up towards Hashem in a more limited, to a more limited degree.